Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. I hope you all are enjoying your Tuesday. And I'm here to bring to you my thoughts and the results of not one, and not two, but three wrestling cards from over the weekend. Yes, I did say three, even though I only predicted two. We'll get into it, and let's see. We definitely got a really good bunch of set of cards for you. So I'm going to tell you to grab something to drink, grab a snack if you can, and let's do this. So, first off, we have Saturday afternoon, so like 3 o'clock ish. I don't know what it was in Nashville. We got New Japan Pro Wrestling, Music City Mayhem, and boy oh boy was that a fun card. So, to start us off, we have a 6-man tag team match featuring some of the young guns from not only the LA dojo, but the New Japan dojo as well. So we have Fred Yehi, who I am glad is getting some bookings, and hopefully we'll see more of soon because he's very good. Shota Umino, the shooter, the protege to John Moxley. And Yuya Uemura, a very underrated wrestler for New Japan, and hopefully we'll get some more bookings elsewhere. Take on Kevin Knight. Not really super familiar with him, but he's alright. Ren Narita, who I am surprised hasn't graduated yet, although there's probably some explanation out there as to why he's not. And the DKC, not super familiar with him either. This was a wild and quick 6-man tag, which featured a lot of high flying. Fred Yehi with a lot of submissions. I believe the shooter got the win with a big old drop kick. So, fun match for me. I think the big thing was post-match, Yuya Uemura, Ren Narita going nose to nose. So we're going to see them in a one-on-one contest sooner rather than later. And I'm all for it. Alright, next up, some interpromotional action. That's right. We have the MLW Openweight Championship on the line. As one half of the Wolves, we'll get to them in a minute, Davey Richards defends his championship against Old Hand, good New Japan hand, and all-around Forbidden Door guy, Rocky Romero. And these two had an absolute great match. A lot of high-flying, a lot of submission tries, too, by Davey Richards. Davey has definitely toned down the high-flying a little bit since he was in the Wolves. I believe Davey won with the submission hold, which was absolutely the right call. So winner, still MLW Openweight Champion, Davey Richards. I'm going to give this one another thumbs up, and I'm going to say it is a must-watch. It is recommended. Next match. A bit of an interesting match because both are ex-WWE guys. You have, for the New Japan Strong Openweight title, a title that is the main title for the U.S. branch of New Japan. As you have Fred Rosser, the former Darren Young, champion, defending against Big Damo. I honestly forget his WWE name. He wasn't really that significant. Killian Dane. That's who he was. He was in Sanity with Eric Young and Alexander Wolf. All three no longer with WWE. Can you believe that? Anyway, a lot of really great power moves. At one point, you had Damo try to leg drop Rosser on the apron. That didn't go so well for the big man. A lot of splashes in the corner, which was honestly great. But then a little surprise, crossface chicken wing for the big submission win for Rosser. Rosser, I believe, has been a great face champion for New Japan, and hopefully to many more great challenges. I'm going to give this one, of course, a big thumbs up. Some more classic, almost hoss fight battles here, but overall, these guys are agile as heck, and I enjoyed it. Next up, back to the flippy stuff, as we have All Heart Blake Christian, who has been absolutely everywhere, and I love it, taking on Hiromu Takahashi, the former New Japan Junior Heavyweight Champion, great, and hopefully he'll be elevated to the world title scene soon. This was a lot of fun. A lot of flying, a lot of flipping. It was pedal on the gas since the beginning, and it was a whole lot of fun. I did feel a little gassed out by the end, but ultimately, winner, Hiromu Takahashi. I'm going to give this match, once again, a thumbs up. It was a lot of fun. Cannot wait for more. Next up, another 6-man tag team match, playa. You have the United Empire, Kyle Davis and Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis of Aussie Open. I finally got the name of those guys. Along with current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion TJP, as they take on Alex Zane and the IWGP Tag Team Champions FTR. And boy, oh boy, did they tear the house down. A lot of outside fighting, a lot of, high flying from TJP and Zane. Overall, heck of a bout. The entire time I was thinking Aussie Open versus FTR would be great. Let's get it. So TJP with a big fly on Alex Zane for the pinfall. Overall, I give it a thumbs up. A lot of fun, a lot of great chemistry. The interesting thing came from post-match. While the champs were leaving, one of Aussie Open grabs the mic and basically challenge is FTR for the tag straps. And FTR pretty much say, yeah, okay. So we're getting that match in the future. Aussie Open versus FTR. Let's get it. Let them loose. I am ready. Shame that couldn't have happened at Forbidden Door, though. That would have been cool. Next up, a singles contest. And it is a bit of an inside tag team match. You have Alex Shelley versus Kushida. And if you know their history, they were known as the Time Splitters before Kushida went to the WWE, and, the usual for WWE under Vince. This match was absolutely perfect. For every move one guy would make, the other would counter, kick out of finishers. It was like, okay, these guys obviously know each other very well. How is this going to end? And then I hear the countdown. And I'm like, oh, God, it's going to be a draw. And ultimately, yeah, it was. And as disappointed as I am that we didn't get a winner, I'm kind of okay with this. Because, like I said, these two know each other very well from their past. So the draw does kind of make sense. Overall, just kind of like right here. Gonna give it kind of a thumbs up. Mostly because of the finish. Because I was hoping for a winner. But, like I said, it does make sense. And finalamo, our main event of the evening. A no DQ contest between Jon Moxley and El Desperado. And boy, oh boy, did these two beat the heck out of each other. You had barbed wire boards in the ring. Chairs were involved. Kendo sticks. Bloody. Both men bled. Moxley ripped open, Desperado's mask and started biting him on the head. Like, the freedom these guys have is just, it's great. I love it. Moxley wins with a paradigm shift and a bulldog choke, which honestly is an impressive finisher, and the tap out. Match, awesome. I'm going to say, if you're not so squeamish, recommend it. If you don't like the sight of blood, might not be for you. And then post-match, Moxley had a little trouble with the microphone because apparently the venue wasn't that great. And it started a little late. So, whatever. It is what it is. Overall, I'm going to give it a thumbs up show. It was a lot of fun to watch. And a real palate cleanser for what comes next. A very big surprise that I didn't even think I would be doing. As I'm giving my review for Summerslam. That's right. This past week, I got back into WWE, mostly because Vince isn't in charge anymore. And I enjoyed myself. Now, all of Saturday, I pretty much thinking, should I really watch this? Is this going to be fun? Overall, it was definitely fun. Some things I would nitpick a little bit, but overall, it was a good wrestling show. So, first match on the card, we have Bianca Belair defending her Raw Women's Championship against Becky Lynch. Now, last year, when these two faced off, it was supposed to be Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, but Sasha had to bail. I believe she had COVID or something. Something was wrong. Or she was injured or something. So it ended up Bianca had an open challenge. And Becky answered that challenge and beat her in like 26 seconds, which established her as a heel, which I don't think anyone liked. And now this is, rematch. And obviously they didn't run it back. Becky Lynch went for a lot of big moves in which Bianca countered, which was honestly, this is what I love about storytelling in the ring. Bianca learned from last year's bout and brought it into what it was a beautiful opening match, which ended via Bianca Belair's Spanish Fly and her KOD finisher for the 1, 2, 3. Now, match, I'm going to give a big old thumbs up for, and I'm going to recommend you go watch it if you haven't. Now, post-match, this is where it gets a little interesting. Post-match, Becky Lynch extends her hand for the handshake, and then they just embrace, which, it seems like Becky Lynch is coming back as a babyface, although she now has a separated shoulder. Please get well soon, man. We're going to be waiting. Hopefully for the Rumble. And then out came the returning Bayley. Still kind of Karen Bayley, but, it's been a long time since we've seen Bayley. Very happy to see her. But it doesn't end there. As out comes Dakota Kai, who got released last June, I believe, in one of the mass releases by, Vince. So that was a big surprise. Did not expect Dakota Kai out here. And next up was Io Shirai, or she is now known as Io Sky, Not a terrible name. I don't mind it. To round out the crew. So we got a new women's group on Raw, and I am here for it. That's awesome. The group goes face to face with Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch. Heels back off, and yeah, that's the end of the segment. I'm so happy to see not only Bayley return, Dakota Kai return, and Io Sky get the call up. This is going to be interesting. Next up, a match that I did enjoy, but with the characters involved, I kind of would rate this a little lower because I do not care for either of these two. We have The Miz being joined to the ring with Tommaso Ciampa and Maurice, taking on Logan Paul. That's right, Logan Paul in his first singles outing in WWE. For WrestleMania, he tagged with The Miz, and then The Miz betrayed him. So, Logan Paul is a babyface, I guess. I will say, Logan did look really good in the ring. He did some great moves. A little flip from the ring apron onto The Miz, and a beautiful Spanish fly from the ring to the announcer's table, right through The Miz. And then at one point, you had AJ Styles take out Tommaso Ciampa, which I guess Styles was training Logan Paul, in which it definitely shows. And yeah, after the big old frog splash, Logan Paul got Miz back in the ring for the win. Besides my bias, match itself, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Logan Paul looked really smooth in there. He looked like he belonged. Too bad he's a huge POS. Next up, a bit of a short match, but I think it's what was needed. You have Bobby Lashley defending his U.S. title against Money in the Bank holder Austin Theory. Bobby Lashley beat Theory at Money in the Bank for the title, so this is the the rematch, because, you know, that's what WWE does. Bobby Lashley pretty much dominated Theory in this. And I am definitely okay with it, because it made Bobby Lashley look really good. And then came with a Master Lock, aka the Hurt Lock, for the big tap out victory. Overall, it was kind of a nothing match, but you know, I kind of had a good time with it. I'm gonna say like thumb right here. Next up, a no DQ contest tag team match, playa, as you have Rey and Dominic Mysterio taking on the Judgment Day of Finn Balor and Damian Priest. You know, Judgment Day is a group started by Edge, who then added Finn Balor, who they were feuding with, and then Balor took over. So, Edge is out. They've been feuding with the Mysterios for a bit now. And overall, this was a fun match, although it did hold to standard tag rules, which I thought was weird. You know, very little, you know, no DQ stuff. Rey and Dominic were looking to hit the double 619, so like the 12 to something, I don't know. I don't even want to do that math. But Rhea Ripley stopped it. Rhea Ripley being the third member of Judgment Day. And then out comes Edge from injury. He came out of a stair-like structure at the top of the ramp. And like, if you're Judgment Day, How do you not know that's not there? Like, how do you miss that? Damian Priest looks to attack Edge. He completely whiffs. Finn Balor has a chair, whiffs on Edge, spear, which sets up both Priest and Balor for the double 619 for the win. Overall, I'm going to say it's good to see Edge. I am glad they are not breaking up the Mysterios yet. Maybe they will in the future. And, overall, I'd say it was like right here. Like, I enjoyed it, but some logical things kind of took me out of it a little bit. Next up, a match I ultimately kind of checked out of my brain because I don't really care for either of these two guys, as is SmackDown announcer Pat McAfee, who I love his energy. He's great on the mic, and he's a great combination with Michael Cole. Can't believe I'm saying that. As a wrestler, he's fine. And he did pick a safe opponent in Baron Corbin. No, I will not become him Happy Corbin, because that's just... I do not like that character. Honestly, this was kind of more or less the Pat McAfee show. Like, a lot of rolling stunners, well, I wouldn't say rolling stunners, but definitely some drop kicks that looked like McAfee landed on his head. And he definitely worked really stiff, which honestly I kind of appreciate. Match comes to an end after a low blow from McAfee to Corbin, and I forget what his finisher is, for the 1, 2, 3. Overall, this match did go a little long, and it's two guys I could kind of care less about. So, I'm going to go right here. It was still kind of a fun match, but overall, I didn't really need to see it. Next up, a match that fell a little bit short for me, as you have the tag team titles on the line. And yes, it's both Raw and SmackDowns, as it's the Usos defending against the Street Profits. These two had a match at Money in the Bank, which was apparently a whole lot better than this match. But overall, I do feel like these two worked really, really well together. A lot of kickouts, especially from the frog splash from Montez Ford. There was a bit of miscommunication between Ford and Angelo Dawkins, which led to a super kick party and a win for the Usos. So they retain. I'm going to say, it was okay match, and it's the lead-in to the Street Profits breakup story, which, I'm okay with. Street Profits have pretty much done everything they can in the tag division. Hopefully they do find some new tag teams to elevate in this division. So, overall, fine match. Definitely not their best. Next up, a relatively short match, which this was easily the worst match of the night. I'm sorry, ladies. You have the SmackDown Women's Championship on the line, as Liv Morgan defends against Ronda Rousey. And Rousey threw poor Liv Morgan around like a rag doll. End of the match came with Rousey having Liv Morgan in an armbar, and somehow Rousey's shoulders were on the mat. At like 2, Liv starts tapping. Ref doesn't see it. 3, Winner, still SmackDown Women's Champion Liv Morgan. Overall, I'm going to give it, like, kind of here. Like, I can see what they were going for, but there was too little time to have this match develop. And it does open the door for a rematch, although now it does seem like Rousey is going to be a heel going forward as she attacked not only Liv Morgan, but the referee, which, yeah, fine. And now our main event of the evening for the unified WWE Universal Championship in a last man standing match. So meaning no pinfall, no submission, and you have to keep your opponent down for a 10 count. So it's pretty much a war of attrition. You have Roman Reigns, the champion, defending against Brock Lesnar, number 6,843. However, with all the nonsense involved, and trust me, there was some nonsense, I think this was the most fun match on the card. Now, match didn't even start yet. Brock's making his entrance. He goes back to the ramp, to the side. He has a tractor right there. Gets in it, starts it up, puts on a little flannel and a cowboy hat, because why not? Rolls to the ring, stops right before it, gets the scoop up, announces himself for the match, and dives from the bucket onto Roman to start the match. Like, oh, that's a way to start a match. Like, goddamn. And this match was absolutely brutal. You had plenty of table spots, I think a couple of chair shots. Austin Theory tried to cash in, but was ultimately stopped by the Usos. At one point, you had Roman in the scoop of the payloader, and Brock dumped it in the ring, but it doesn't stop there, because then Brock gets the scoop underneath the ring and kind of raises the ring to the point where Roman falls out. And that visual was absolutely nuts. Like, I never thought I'd see something like that in a wrestling show. Bravo, WWE. Finish came after a couple of super kick shots from the Usos, big spear, and shots from both titles. And then afterwards, Usos and Roman pretty much buried Brock under a ton of rubble, in which the entire time the ref was counting, which I thought was weird, because when he got to 10, I think everyone was surprised. And, winner still Universal WWE Champion Roman Reigns. And ultimately, I'm going to give this match a thumbs up. This was a lot of fun. Definitely still a bit sports entertaining, but I'm happy I watched. And I do hope this is the last Brock Roman match, at least for a little while. Let's have some space between these matches, and let's get someone new at the top of the card. So, overall, SummerSlam was a fine little show. First one produced by Triple H, which, it definitely shows. Was it the best SummerSlam ever? No. Was it very entertaining and watchable? Absolutely. Gonna give it kind of a Orange Cassidy. Come right here. Not exactly up, but it didn't suck. I'll say that. And fine Alamo. We have Ric Flair's last match as presented by Jim Crockett Promotions, which, if you're a fan of old school territory wrestling, they were pretty big back in the day. So, we got a couple of matches on here to talk about, and it was a lot of fun. So, first match on the pre-show, it's a New Japan showcase. As you got, oh wow, Red Narita versus Yuma Yura. And it was a quick little match between two dojo boys. I don't think it went as long as I would liked, but I still had a lot of fun with it. Winner by quick roll up, Red Narita. I'm gonna give it kind of a thumbs right here. Like, it didn't really get the time I thought it would deserve, but overall it was a fun thing to see. Next up, we have the Bunkhouse Battle Royal. Now, if you don't know what a Bunkhouse Battle Royal is, it's pretty much a Royal Rumble, except everyone comes out at the same time. It's pretty much come as you are. So basically, you're in jeans, that's what you're competing in. You're in a dress shirt, that's what you're competing in. And it's over the top, both feet hit the floor, you're out. So, competitors. We have Cal Hero, not really familiar. Big Damo, just competed the other night for New Japan. Crimson, representing the NWA. Gringo Loco. Commander, representing AAA. Wolfie D, bit of an old school ECW guy. Sim Bodhi, bit of an interesting choice there. And Cowboy James Storm. And Bully Ray kind of coming out of retirement. And then we have the GCW Invasion. That's right, Game Changer. Actually did have a show on, I believe it was Friday, in which their promoter pretty much said, oh, we don't have any representation here, we're going to invade. And this is where they invaded. So, guys who from GCW had Effie, I believe current tag team champion, Matthew Justice, and Manders of the, God, they have a team name. I forget what it is. I apologize. Jordan Oliver, Ricky Shane Page, Blake Christian, and Joey Janela. Overall, it was pretty much a quick little battle royal, won by Mance Warner, which is a crazy thing to say. Overall, I had fun. Nice. I always like a good battle royal. Gonna give it a thumbs up. Now, first match on the main card, bit of an Impact Dream match. You'll have the Motor City Machine Guns taking on Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards, the Wolves. And boy, oh boy, did these two teams mesh really, really well. A lot of great counters by one another, although it did seem like Richards and Edwards were off for a little while because this is the first time they teamed in a bit, considering they're both in different promotions. And actually at Slammiversary, they were on opposing teams, if you forget. A lot of classic moves by both teams, including the finish, which saw the Skull and Bones hit by Sabin and Shelley on Edwards, I believe it was, for the 1, 2, 3. Your winner. Your winners, the Motor City Machine Guns. Great way to kick off an event. Hopefully we see something like this down the line. Next up, bit of a hoss battle here, as you have Killer Cross with his second Scarlet Bordeaux taking on current one half of the NWA World Tag Team Champions, Davey Boy Smith Jr. Now, I am not sure if these two have had a match in MLW one-on-one, but this was definitely an interesting match. Davey Richards definitely started off a little hot, although he could not knock down the big tree trunks of Killer Cross. And then Cross countered a pretty big move into a straight jacket for the big tap-out victory. And honestly, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Bit of a short match again, but I am okay with that. Next up, a match that went a little bit longer, but I am okay with, and somehow I missed on the predictions. You have Jonathan Gresham, Alan Five Angels, Konosuke Takeshita, and Nick Wayne in a fatal four-way match for a number one contender shot at the Progress World Championship. Overall, this was a big match feel. Takeshita with some big dominating moves early on. Alan Angels and Nick Wayne tried double team, which ultimately kind of failed. Which led to Gresham with the big old octopus hold in the middle of the ring and the tap out. So your winner, number one contender to the Progress World Champion. Although I thought he was already champion. I'm not sure. Jonathan Gresham. Next up, a bit of a generational tag team match play out. As you had some young horsemen, Brian Pillman Jr. and Brock Anderson, being seconded by his father Arn, taking on the Rock and Roll Express, kind of. As you have Ricky and Kerry Morton, who are being seconded by Robert Gibson. Early on, Pillman and Kerry Morton doing some great, quick-looking moves. Pillman then tags in Anderson and literally points at Ricky Morton, which Kerry obliges. Ricky with some quick offense, in which, if you haven't seen a Ricky Morton match in 2022, look it up. He is still in phenomenal shape. Brock tries for a big old spinebuster slam, kind of whiffs. Pillman with a big old elbow circa his father. On to Kerry Morton with the 1, 2, 3. Winners, the New Horsemen. I really enjoyed this match, although I would have liked to see it go a little longer. I do understand why it was a little shorter. So, gonna give it a thumbs up. And yeah, I'm gonna say look out for all three second generation guys. Next up, a 4-way match featuring pretty much all AAA guys. As you have Rey Fenix, although he's technically AEW, taking on Bandito, who is doing stuff for MLW, AAA, and now he's going to be on Impact later on in the month. Black Taurus and Laredo Kid, who have been working with AAA and Impact. This was a heck of a bout. I did like their AAA match with Vikingo a little bit better, but oh boy, the stuff these guys did. Taurus with big power moves, including a gorilla press slam from the top rope onto Bandito, which was absolutely nuts. Laredo Kid and Rey Fenix with some really good tandem offense after that. But finish came with a kind of fear factor on Taurus for the win. So your winner, Rey Fenix. This match was given a little bit more time to breathe. I am happy about that. Gonna give it a thumbs up for me. I'm gonna say match of the evening, and I'm gonna give it a must-watch seal of approval. Next up, for the Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship, you have champion Josh Alexander taking on former MLW World Heavyweight Champion Jacob Fatu. Now, I know there's a lot of people who are not really familiar with Jacob. He is brothers with, or cousins of the Usos and Roman Reigns. And he is very, very good. Longest reigning MLW champion, I believe. And, yeah, these two guys pounded the heck out of each other. Josh Alexander kept going for the C4 spike, which was countered. A huge Samoan drop by Jacob on Josh Alexander. Josh has Jacob in an ankle lock. And out comes the Cardonas. That's Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, which ultimately ends in DQ. Now, I do understand why they did it. That's to protect both Jacob and Josh, just in case they want to do this somewhere down the line. Bound for glory. But, yeah, I was a little disappointed by the finish. The match absolutely ruled. I'm going to give it a big old thumbs up. And I'm going to say, if you haven't, go watch it. Because it was a lot of fun. Next up, a sort of, again, multi-generational tag team match player. As you had the Briscoes, Jay and Mark, former Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, take on Ross and Marshall Von Erich. And boy, oh boy, these two... I will admit, this was a little bit shorter than I would have liked to see between these two. However, they put on a heck of a match. A lot of lip flopping flying from the Briscoes. A lot of more grounded stuff from the Von Erichs, including a claw slam, which was very impressive, and I'm surprised that didn't end the match. And a big old frog splash by the Briscoes for a froggy bow, if you want to call it that, for the Briscoes win. I'm going to say this match gets a thumbs up from me. It was a lot of fun to see, and hopefully we get this match again somewhere down the line. Now, next up, we got a triple threat match for the Knockouts World title, as Jordynne Grace defends her title against Deonna Purrazzo, who is going for the Knockouts Tag Team titles at Emergence. I'll give my predictions for that soon. And Rachel Ellering, who tagged with Jordynne Grace herself, and was tag team champions, but that crew broke up and Ellering was released from her contract, I believe. Match starts with a bit of a scary bump as Jordynne Grace lands on Rachel Ellering's ankle. Thankfully, it doesn't seem like she was ultimately hurt super bad, but I do hope she gets better soon. Purrazzo and Grace ultimately carried this match, and it was so good. Ellering tried to fight through, but it did look like she was struggling a little bit. But overall, I'm going to say it was a fun match. Grace with her big finisher. I forget what it is. I'm sorry. For the 1, 2, 3. Winner, still Knockouts champion, and will go on to face Mia Yim at Emergence. And now our main event. Oh boy. I was dreading talking about this one. As you have Ric Flair's last match, and it's a tag team match, playa. As you got Ric Flair teaming with his son-in-law, Andrade El Idolo. He's married to Charlotte Flair. As they take on Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. And I will say, this was the most uncomfortable match I have ever seen. The stuff with Andrade versus Lethal, or Andrade versus Jeff Jarrett, was really good. Jeff Jarrett is in phenomenal shape. I feel like if he wasn't in WWE's office, I think he could still wrestle pretty well. Like, I think he could still be a really good in-ring competitor. But when it came to Ric Flair, oh boy, he looked super limited. He looked gassed almost like right out of the gate. He took a pretty nasty looking shot from Jeff Jarrett's guitar, which was scary. And then a big superplex by Jay Lethal. God damn, I don't want to talk about this for super long. Like, it was so uncomfortable to see. Match ends with Conrad Thompson, who is Ric Flair's other son-in-law, throws him some brass knuckles, which Andrade catches because Ric Flair's on the mat, convulsing. Like, it looked like he was having some sort of medical episode. Andrade gets Rick to his feet, puts the brass knucks on his trembling hand, and then Rick goes for the big punch on Jeff Jarrett, puts him in the figure 4, doesn't really put anything on it because he is just completely gassed. Ref counts the pin, 1, 2, 3. Winner, Ric Flair and Andrade. So this is going to be a match of 2 parts. The stuff with Andrade, Jay Lethal, and Jeff Jarrett, fantastic. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. When Ric Flair was in there, I feared for his life. I feared he was going to die in that ring. Thank God he didn't. Ric Flair, never do this again. Please stay retired. I am begging you. Overall, I had fun with this show. The only downside of it was the Ric Flair stuff. Like I said, again, Ric Flair, I know you're not watching this. Please send this to him. Please stay retired. We don't need to see this again, and we want you to live as long and as healthily as humanly possible. Now, that is it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. We have a couple of shows coming up in August. August 12th, we have Impact Emergence. And August 28th, and I believe 29th as well, we have NWA and their 74th anniversary. Can't wait for those. Those are going to be a lot of fun. We'll do my predictions for those the week leading up to the show. And I hope you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of all 3 of these shows from WrestleMania weekend. Because I had a lot of fun watching them. And let me, if you got a show you want me to see, let me know. And I think I'm going to be doing more WWE stuff from now on. So I hope you look forward to that. And I hope you have a good one. And I shall see you next time. Peace. Wow, that's